Hello, and welcome back to another YouTube video. This week we are talking about how we can get more eyes on your content. I know that creating content takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work, and if not enough people are seeing it, then sometimes it can feel like you've wasted your time. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I personally get more eyes on my content and how you can do the same for yours. In addition to that, I'm also going to talk to you about how you can figure out what content your audience likes so you know what to create and then what to share with them to keep them coming back for more. This video looks a little different than other ones. For one, I am standing, which never happens. In fact, in last week's video, I was still in bed. And I can't blame anything other than the pandemic for that one. I think you can relate. I'm also in my office. You can see here my desk is an absolute mess. The lights are off. I'm using a ring light that my friend provided, which is pretty cool. We're going to talk about how frustrating it is to create content and then no one sees it. We're going to also talk about how you can figure out what your audience actually wants to see from you so that you can create content that they want to engage with, that they want to share, and that will keep them coming back for more. I'm going to start this video by saying that I see one common mistake most often, and that is the fact that people will create content and share it once. They think that their audience has seen it, which means that they're not going to want to see it again, and then they put all this time and energy into one piece of content that they could technically share over and over again and on multiple platforms. So my first question to you is the content you are creating being shared everywhere that your audience is? Are you creating a post that is living on Instagram, but maybe you haven't shared on LinkedIn or Twitter? Are you using a reel on Instagram, but then not repurposing that content on TikTok? Are you writing blogs on your website, but not actually sharing them on any of your social media platforms? There are so many ways that you can convert your content into micro pieces of content and then share it across all social media platforms. If you haven't heard of the Gary Vee content model, it's all about starting with one big piece of content. Take this YouTube video, for example, and then condensing it into smaller versions of that piece of content and sharing it on multiple platforms. So for me, I am on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Medium. I have my website. I have YouTube. There are so many different platforms that I'm on, and I have kind of a unique audience on all of them. So I take each piece of content, I tweak the wording of it, and then I share it on each platform. When you are on Instagram, only 7 to 10% of your audience is actually seeing your content. What's the harm in actually sharing those pieces of content again? I'm not saying you should share that same piece of content in the same week, but say 3 months down the line, you may want to repurpose that content again. You may have new followers. You may have people that haven't even seen the original piece of content, and truth be told, they probably don't remember. The amount of content people see in every single day, the odds of yours kind of standing out from the crowd, it is a bit slim. The second thing I would say, or I would ask you, is are you using the types of resources that these platforms are putting out to get you more reach? So for example, on Instagram, you may notice that when you are scrolling through your feed, you're seeing reels more and more often. The reason for this is because Instagram is actually prioritizing reels after they saw the success of TikTok. They want you to use reels more often, which is why they're showing them more in your feed. It is known that reels get far more reach than any other piece of content on Instagram. You may post a minute-long video in your feed. You may post an IGTV video. But odds are they won't get the same amount of views as an Instagram reel. Similarly with photo content in your feed and photo content on your stories, they're not getting the same amount of engagement. Do the things that the platforms are telling you they want you to do. That'll help get you more reach on not only those videos, but in turn on your other content, because people are going to come to your profile, they're going to check out all of the other pieces of content you've created, and if you have a good selection of content there, they're going to hit that follow button. And the third thing I always recommend or I ask is, are you using hashtags? The strategy around hashtags is always changing. Sometimes it's more important to use lots of hashtags. Sometimes you should just select a key few and see how they perform. But finding hashtags that aren't too big and aren't too small are going to be key to getting your posts, your pieces of content in the eyes of people who are searching for those hashtags. Now, how do we figure out what pieces of content our audience actually wants to see? Well, I'm going to start by saying that if you converted a personal profile into a business profile, odds are you have some people following you because they want to see photos of you, photos of your dog, photos of your family. They want to see more personal things. They are probably not going to be your target audience. They are not going to be the people that are going to convert into paying customers. So how do we figure out what our actual audience wants to know, what they want to learn, what kinds of content they want to see from us? We have to do some research. The very first place I'm going to recommend that you go to figure out what your audience likes is your previous content. You're going to take a look at how many people are liking your posts, how many people are commenting, how many shares it's getting, how many people are saving. If people are liking your post, it means that they find it aesthetically pleasing. So if there's a lot of people liking, odds are the graphic or the photo that you've shared, people like the way that it looks. If you are getting a lot of comments on your post, it means that the caption was engaging or you've asked for people's opinions. They feel comfortable with you in sharing their opinions. And sometimes they'll tag friends or other businesses that they think need to see that piece of content. If you are getting shares on your post, it means that your audience thinks more people need to hear about it or see it, or the message that you are trying to portray needs to be shared with the wide masses. So create more of that content. And if your post is being saved, it means that you've likely provided them with valuable content that they want to refer back to later. I'll admit that I have saved reels before that I thought were funny or things that brought me joy, but for the most part, the things that I save are workout videos that I want to refer back to later. Maybe it's Instagram tips and tricks, tips on how to build my resume, so on and so forth. These are the pieces of content that I'm saving because I know that they are going to be useful to me later on. It's always a good recommendation to do a mix of all four. Find content that's going to be engaging so that your audience wants to comment. Make sure that the content is actually visually appealing. Get content out there that people want to share with their friends and family. And of course, create valuable content that is educational and will be something that your audience can refer back to later. In addition to looking at those main analytics, you're also going to want to see what pieces of content they are engaging with outside of you. Maybe there are pages in your community that they are engaging with on a regular basis. Maybe the majority of the people that they're following are nonprofits. Maybe they're really into environmentalism and sustainability. Go into their profile if you can and take a look at the other accounts that they're following. Are they similar to you? What kinds of content are they creating? What pieces of content are they sharing to their stories that are from other accounts? Really take a look at how your target audience is consuming content, how they're sharing content, and what content really resonates with them. From there, you can kind of brainstorm and get your own ideas into content that they'll eventually want to share to their story. And the last thing you can do to figure out if your audience wants to see your content or what pieces of content your audience wants to see is to ask them. Go into your Instagram stories, put up a poll, and ask people what kinds of content they want to see. To give you a good example, yesterday I went onto my Instagram story and I actually asked my audience, aka you, what pieces of content you wanted to see this week. You told me that you wanted to learn how to figure out what pieces of content your audience likes to look for and what pieces of content your audience wants to see. And you also said that you wanted to know how to get better reach on your content, aka the 2 topics in this video. I would have never picked these topics on my own. They came from you, and that's how I figured out what video I was going to create for today. So it works. Your audience wants to share their opinion with you. Let them do it. Keep the question sticker up. Keep things kind of open-ended. Maybe do a quiz or a poll. Gauge what your audience wants. Figure out what they need. Figure out how you can provide a solution to the questions that they have, and then roll that content out. To bring things full circle, I'm creating this YouTube video, and then from this YouTube video, I will be creating micro pieces of content that will get shared on Instagram Reels, on LinkedIn in video format. I may even share it on TikTok if I'm feeling spicy, but for the most part, it all comes full circle. I figure out what content you want to see, I create the content, and then I make sure to roll that content out in multiple formats so that I get the most amount of eyes on it. If you do have any questions about Instagram or how to get better reach, leave them down in the comments section below. I want to hear from you and I want to help you, especially in times like these where we're all just trying to figure out how to navigate a virtual and online world. And that is a wrap on this week's YouTube video. If this is the first YouTube video you've watched of mine, thank you so much for coming and tuning in. If you liked what you saw today, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and hit the bell so that you never miss a video. If this is not your first video, I want to say thank you for coming back and checking out another one. It means the world to me. I say that every time, but I truly, truly mean it. I create these YouTube videos every week, sometimes on Mondays, a little bit too late. I should probably be planning these a little bit further ahead in advance. That's a tip for you too. Don't leave your content to the last minute. But I do create these YouTube videos to help you, and I hope they do just that. If they do, please let me know in the comment section below, or feel free to reach out on Instagram in my DMs. I'm always there. Truthfully, you don't even want to know my screen time. So thank you again for checking out this week's video, and I will see you next Tuesday.